Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Holly. Today I'm reading Am I the Asshole? Wedding Edition number I don't know what from Reddit. Let's get into it. Am I the asshole for not making my best friend my bridesmaid because of her coworker? I, 27, have been best friends and distant cousins with Jody, 27, for over 20 years. I'm getting married in October of 2027. Congratulations. However, lately Jody has been ranting to me about a coworker, late 50s, female, as her job seems to be trying to fill a motherly role for her since her own relationship with her mother is strained. Julie also invites herself to Jody's house for baking, art, and things, and other events around town, so they see each other outside of work as well. For context, we live in a pretty small town in Australia, so everyone knows everything here, and being that I am in a same-sex relationship with my fiancé, who is from the UK, where our wedding will be held, we are especially well known, hence how Julie knows things about my wedding and life. Jody's co-worker, who I'm going to call Julie, is a self-described blunt person, who tells it like it is, and happily says she doesn't care what people think of her. This has led her to having no friendships and coworkers who either avoid her or have disagreements with her. Recently, Jody has been ranting to me about Julie's behavior whilst they're at work. Normally it's about how Julie undermines her work by double-checking or over-explaining, makes comments about her family dynamics, looks, hair, tattoos, or recently when Jody was expressing interest in a person who appeared to have a crush on her coming into the job, Julie commented and said, "She doesn't like you like that, and you're straight anyway." Jody is not straight. I've always been the friend people vent to, and this was no different. I've been encouraging Jody to stand up for herself more and more in a workplace-friendly way, like politely shutting down hurtful comments and changing the topic or mentioning that certain topics upset her and she would like to avoid them. She's not done anything but nod along or try to justify herself, and then come back to me to complain about Julie again. However, a point of contention has become apparent between Jody and Julie and me. Whenever Jody mentions that she will be seeing me or hanging out with me, or mentions my wedding, Julie starts ignoring her, or being short with her, or just generally in a bad mood. This also happens when other people mention me to Jody. The behavior has been escalating, and Julie is now making snide comments about my wedding or about me personally, and going as far as to make these comments loudly in front of other staff and customers, saying things like, "You know you don't have to go out of town if you don't want to," and talking about how I shouldn't expect people to come at all since it's a destination wedding. I know, it's a wedding of 40 people total, and everyone is financially able to come and very excited. Most have turned it into a large European vacation for their families, but everyone knows there's no hard feelings if they can't come for any reason. We have planned a dinner locally for anyone who can't make it. Julie has also called my wedding tacky. Rude. I don't like Julie. We don't like Julie, right? Yeah, we don't like Julie. Julie has also called my wedding tacky and said I'm spending money on something stupid, and said other nasty comments about me. She even overheard my mother talking to the owner of a business, who has known me since I was born, about the wedding and how excited she is to go, and this triggered another round of nasty comments from Julie. Jody has not defended me once, hasn't asked her to stop, or even tried to avoid the subject. I am seriously considering just keeping her as a regular bridesmaid and not having a maid of honor, since it feels wrong to ask someone who is having playdates with a grown woman who is speaking so nastily about me behind my back to stand next to me at my wedding she couldn't be bothered defending. I worry I'm overreacting, and 20 years of friendship should outweigh this situation, that I should just accept that Jody is going to be friends with Julie and tolerate these comments whilst having her in her home. Jody justifies not defending me or herself because Julie has made her thoughtful handmade gifts for her birthday in the past, and they have good moments at work as well. Jody also feels bad that Julie has no other friendships in her life and comes across as jealous because she sees my friendship with Jody as a competition to hers. I don't know, it just really hurts my feelings that she's allowing this woman to talk about me like this and still defends her when I say anything about it. Sometimes just ignoring what I'm saying and talking about something else instead. Rude. I'd never let someone speak about her like that to me, and that's just me, and I shouldn't impose that on her. So I guess I'm asking, would I be the asshole if I don't make Jody a bridesmaid based on her coworkers' comments about me and Jody's passiveness towards it? This commenter says, I would tell my friend to stop talking about me and my wedding to this bizarre, petty woman. Be blunt like Julie and say if she doesn't nip this bashing, then you don't feel safe sharing anything personal with Jody and cannot have her as a close confidant. Jody doesn't really sound like a best friend right now. I think you two really need to have a proper conversation about this and how her actions are affecting you. You should see whether she truly understands the impact of what she's been doing. If she's apologetic and willing to change, and you actually see that change in her behavior, then you can decide if the friendship is worth keeping. Your cousin doesn't sound like she's your best friend right now. It sounds like maybe she might be a little bit jealous that you're getting married if she's allowing someone to talk about you like this and not, nip it in the bud. I'd have a conversation with her, and if it continues, I wouldn't have her in the wedding either. Just me. Bridal shower drama. I hosted my friend's bridal shower at my home. I'm maid of honor. I also planned, coordinated, and decorated her bachelorette. And, because they had nowhere else, I offered to host the rehearsal. I have a decent chunk of property, and I thought that would be good for this. Aw, you're sweet. Shortly before the shower, one of her close relatives got very sick, and we weren't sure if they were going to make it. I spoke with the others who were helping with the shower, and we said it was best to postpone until after the family crisis had settled. The bride was not going to work and was spending all hours at the hospital, understandably. When I messaged her to tell her and ask her if there was another date she could pick so I could include it in the postpone message, she got extremely angry with me, and I got a very long emotional message about how she should be within her right to cancel at the last minute if something happens, and her family would pay for the cancellation. She said if I was going to postpone, she didn't want a shower at all. I really disagreed. I understood the emotions behind it, but we had spent so much time, effort, and money preparing to host this. If I were to actually give her family an itemized list to pay me back to cancel at last minute, which I would never, it would be like $3,000. After this, she spoke ill of me to her family, saying no one has ever betrayed her the way that I have. Then, 2 days before the shower, she told me we needed to rectify things or she would have the shower elsewhere. She even actually reached out to see if she could have it in someone else's backyard. I discovered that rectifying things meant apologizing to her and not talking about how this made me feel. Even the day before, as I'm elbows deep in my garden preparing, she's debating whether I should host the shower, and I said, just make up your mind, because if you're not having it here, then I'm going to stop working. I also have kids, a job, and a busy life. The shower went on as planned. I hoped that when she saw the level of effort and planning that she would finally understand my perspective and how much I put into this. While she was thankful, nothing changed and no extra recognition. When I reached out to her to see how her relative was doing, she told me she was mentally not doing well. I offered to table our feelings about the fight until after so I could be there for her, and reaffirmed that I would still host the rehearsal, and that's when she told me she wasn't sure she wanted me to and needed time to decide. At that point, I just backed out because I couldn't be in limbo anymore of her deciding whether or not I could host these events. This commenter says, cut her off. She can't take accountability. I had something similar happen to me after I was in a wedding party. I get that weddings are stressful, but you're a human and a good friend. When people show who they are, believe them. You don't need that woman in your life. Walk away and be drama-free. Next commenter says, stop making yourself a doormat for this bridezilla. Having a sick relative is not an excuse to act like an inconsiderate, spoiled bitch. Agreed. Yeah. Am I the asshole for telling my guests it's better that they don't come to the wedding after they complained about our wedding too much? We're getting married in less than 2 months. Congratulations. Our RSVP deadline was a month ago, and everyone responded to our RSVP but one couple. We really had to hound them to get any kind of answer from them. Yesterday, they sent us a message telling us that they are free to come, but alongside the reply, they sent a long message how cumbersome and expensive it is to attend our wedding and how tiring the weekend for them will be, and how they probably retreat to their hotel room for most of the day and stay for the ceremony and part of the dinner, but retreat to their room for the rest of the festivities. We were taken back because we were paying for everything: food, drinks, parking. We are also paying for everyone's accommodation, a very nice lakeside hotel. Their biggest expense would be to pay for the gas for the 4-hour drive to our wedding and back. They have a car. They also complained about the dress code. We have a black tie. But they both own clothes that would fit the dress code, so they wouldn't have to buy new ones anyway. But they complained about that too. We read the message and basically told them that if coming would be so tiresome for them, it's better they not come. We said that we aren't mad at all. If someone can't make it or doesn't feel up to it, there are no hard feelings, but basically uninvited them. I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, budget-wise, but each guest costs us around $600, and I don't feel like spending $1,200 on people that don't even want to be there. They are now angry at us and refuse to speak to us, and we are thinking that maybe we were a bit harsh. Were we the assholes? This commenter says, "Aw, the ungrateful people planning to use their free hotel room as a personal retreat instead of celebrating with you laid it on too thick and will have to pay for their own weekend getaway. Too bad. So sad. Not the asshole." Right? Person says, "Not the asshole sounds to me like they were fishing for you to pay their gas costs or something, and now they are mad that it didn't work." Sending invite back after RSVP no. We verbally accepted and immediately booked a hotel because the wedding was 3 hours away in an area that we'd never been before. Part of the reason we said yes so quickly was because she was constantly posting about how nobody wanted to come to her wedding and how she had no friends or family support. We felt genuinely bad for her. As time went on, things started getting a bit odd. I couldn't attend her bachelorette party because I already had a trip booked. She had around 6 people attending, but then made public posts asking complete strangers to come because, in her words, 6 people for a hen party is kinda pants. Wonder what her 6 friends would say about that. Worth mentioning, she also had a separate European hen trip planned with her bridesmaids. This is obviously not someone without support, but someone with unrealistic expectations. The official wedding invite then arrived. No vegetarian meal option. Guests asked to wear a specific color palette because, as she stated on the invite, she wanted the photos to look good. Ceremony and reception at separate remote venues with no parking. Fair enough, we'll get a taxi. Except then we were told the landowner didn't want lots of cars on site, so guests will need to use organized coach instead. The coach costs about $30 per person, for a journey of roughly 10 minutes. Guests are to fund this themselves, so we will pay $60 as I am going with my husband. It will not cost anywhere near that if we have the option to sort our own transport, carpooling, taxi. For clarity, this is not the US. Just using dollars for ease. $60 can fully top up our car. Oh, lucky. $60 barely gets me half a tank. The invitation itself was incredibly elaborate, multiple pages, ribbons, floral embellishments, track delivery, the whole lot. This would have cost easily $10 each to make. If money was tight enough that guests were expected to cover the transport between venues, surely that's where some savings could have been made. Send digital invites. In the end, we RSVP'd no. The bride has now asked whether she could have the invite back because she didn't have the time, energy, or money to make another one for the replacement guest. I've seen a lot of wedding-related requests over the years, but being asked to return my invite so it could be reused wasn't one I expected. I have now seen a post from her on the local Facebook group asking strangers to come to her wedding, giving sob stories about how she has been let down, and is all very cringy. Odd. This commenter says, you should have gotten the hint when she said nobody wanted to attend. She obviously pissed them off. This commenter says, making guests pay such a ridiculous sum for transportation because the venue they chose doesn't want cars on site is so incredibly tacky. It really isn't any wonder people don't want to come to this weirdo's wedding. Alright, that's all for today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Bye!